I'm in the library and there are no books in the library. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to sit here and hold my phone. Well, today was the first day on this trip on the MSC Magnifica. We left out of Port Miami, which is in Miami, Florida, and this cruise ship holds about 3,000 people, and I was told by guest relations that there are 2,000 people roughly on board. This is a little bit more than I'm used to. I've been cruising during the COVID years, and on some cruises we were at less than 1,000 on a 5,000 person ship, getting up to 2,000 on a 5,000 person ship, or even, oh my gosh, anyway, it doesn't matter. But we're at 2,000, which is 2/3 of the capacity, and you can feel that there's more people here. But at the same time, you go into a musical event and there's nobody there. So I was just at a bar, and it was at the end of the set, but there were 3 people in the room plus myself, so 4 in total, and there just weren't people there. Now there is a party going on up in the pool, so I guess a lot of people are at the pool, and I was just at the buffet, so a lot of people are at the buffet. But I don't know, I'm just not getting the whole excited vibe on this trip. It could just be me, which is it's likely, but I don't know, it just seems like meh. I guess we're in between holidays right now. It's we just finished Thanksgiving, and I think a number of people are on this trip got a really good deal, like myself, in the Black Friday sale. This trip cost me, I think it was $109, but because I'm a solo traveler, they bumped it up to $121, and then taxes were about $100. So it worked out to be about $240, $250 in total. And so far I've bought gelato, and tomorrow I'm going to do a wine event, and I'm sure I'm going to get a gin and tonic, a fancy one, not just a regular one, but a fancy one. So just a few extra charges, but this is a really cheap trip. But I think that's kind of the idea, is people are on an inexpensive trip, and you can kind of tell too with MSC that this feels kind of lacking. There just seems like there's something missing. But I want to go through my notes and just kind of give an honest run through of the day. So Port Orlando, we're in Miami. So Port Miami has a number of terminals, and then some of the terminals have their own parking garages. I think Royal Caribbean has its own parking garage. There's a parking garage next to the end terminals where Virgin is, and where Royal Caribbean puts its smaller ships. And this particular cruise left from one of the terminals that uses a surface parking lot. So my car is currently parked in a surface parking lot, and honestly, I feel a little uneasy about it. So first of all, you go into this parking lot. It's parking lot E, and there's one of those gates that go up and down, but there's no button to push to get a ticket. So the car in front of me just raced right through, and I got up to the terminal, or I got up to the gate, and I swear that the button was taped over, all the words and the signage were gone. And I was like, well, he raced through it, I guess I got to go through it too. So I go through, and you're kind of not thinking when you're getting ready for your cruise. You're getting you're processing, am I late? Am I early? Is there still time? Is there still parking? Which parking spot should I go to? So I parked, I got into the terminal, and I got onto the cruise ship, and I'm at the buffet, and I got my plate of food, and I was just kind of sitting there, and I was like, wait a minute. What am I going to get charged? So I looked it up on the internet, and it says if you do not have a ticket, or if you lose your ticket, you're going to get charged for the equivalent of 11 days, which works out to be about $250. And I thought, oh no, I'm going to get charged a whole lot more money, than I should be. So I called Port Authority and asked what I should do. And the one guy who answered the phone, he's like, well, why didn't you call us earlier when you were getting into the parking lot? And I was like, because I didn't think about it. I'm not really in my right state of mind. Now that now that I'm on board, I can, think clearly, but then I couldn't. And he transferred me to somebody else, and I explained this to the woman, and she's like, no, you're fine. You have to show your, I'm not reaching in my shirt. Where is it? you have to show your key. So when you show your key, it says here when your trip left and came back. So they'll charge you based on that. And I feel much better, but there was a bit of uneasiness because like you just don't know, and there's no sign that says this. So yeah, they probably should fix that because it does make you feel uneasy. But I'm also uneasy because my car is left on a surface parking lot, and I do have some boxes that I picked up from the post office the other day, and I haven't had time to open them and sort them. But so one box has packing tape in it, another box has some old used books on sailing that I need to read. And I really do hope that no one like breaks a window or breaks into my car thinking that, they hit the payday and like something cool from Amazon is in my car, when it's really not anything the average person would want. So I hope my car's still there when I get back. I like the parking garages. I don't know. Why do we feel more secure in a parking garage? I'm not sure. All right, but my next note here is coming on board. It was just kind of like, meh, you're here. Everyone's super nice. Don't get me wrong. The crew is absolutely wonderful and they're super nice, but there's just no joy. There's no extra. And I think having been on other cruise lines since the last time I was on MSC, I guess my expectations keep getting higher and higher, and now I'm back on MSC and it's just like, you're here, welcome. There's also no Christmas decorations, and we're almost at Christmas. I believe last year around November when I was on another cruise line, possibly even the Divina. I'll have to look at some of the pictures, and everything was like decked out, like wreaths everywhere, and everything was like green and happy and bows, and it was just beautiful. And there's nothing really here. It's kind of sad, but it is a European cruise line, and they're not maybe used to Americans decorating for Christmas in October. So it's not really a terrible thing. It's just it's like I put a little frowny face on my notes because it's just like So when I boarded the cruise ship around 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock, it was really nice to see that all the rooms were ready. I've gone on some cruises where rooms aren't ready until like 4 o'clock, and you're all sitting around just drinking and waiting. And then finally there's some announcement that says, oh, your rooms are ready, you can go to your rooms. Well, in this case, right when you walked in the door, they're like, go to your room, you're fine. So it was really nice to just be able to walk right in, put my stuff down. I didn't check any bags because I have small luggage. It's kind of a benefit of packing light, is that you don't have to use their service. But the guys were already delivering luggage to all the different doors. So people who did get there earlier did have their luggage right at the door right away. And MSC is really good. They're efficient in that. And there's very little time gap between, when you give your luggage at the front and when it appears at your door. So really there are no complaints. This is just honest feedback and kind of like a run through of the day and what to expect if you happen to go on MSC in the near future. So the room was really nice. I have an interior with an ocean view, but it's obstructed. And let me tell you, it is obstructed. When they say obstructed, expect obstructed. On Royal Caribbean, when they sometimes say obstructed, you're not really all that obstructed. But in this one, no, there is a tender boat right in my window, so I can't see anything. And that's fine, because if you run around your room naked, then there's no one to see you because they can't see through the tender boat unless someone's on the tender boat. But I'm close to the blinds, so that's not an issue. So my room, it has a king-size bed. It has 2 twins that are pushed together for the king, and it has 2 Pullman beds, which are kind of fun. The Pullman beds hold up to 150 kilogram person. I might be getting kicked out of this room soon. They hold a 150 kilogram person, and they seem pretty cool, to be honest. I'm not going to jump on it because I've gained too much weight. I don't even know if I weigh 150 kilograms. I think that's about 300 pounds. But yeah, I'm not going to risk it. It's not really worth it to me. God, all these mirrors everywhere. I need to lose weight. You don't realize how much weight you've gained until you walk around and there's like mirrors everywhere and you see how much you weigh and how big you've gotten. And it does kind of remind you that maybe I shouldn't be eating so much at the buffet. Or does it? Does it bother you? Do you look at yourself in the mirror and say, oh, I should eat? Or are you looking at the mirror and being like, I'm on a cruise. I'm going to eat. I can diet later, right? All right. The room is exactly the same as on the Divina. Even the configuration, the types of furnishing, it's all pretty much the same. I was in a Bella class in the Divina. One time I was Aurora, the other time, and this is very basic, but still I like the setup of the room where there's shelves, there are little pull drawers. I had to ask for access to the mini bar, and usually I don't remember a mini bar being stocked. And in this case, it was stocked with all the different drinks and some snacks. I'm not going to be eating or drinking from the mini bar, but the stewardess, she said just pull things out and make room for my drinks or whatever I want to put in there. Previously, I was on a 7-day cruise with MSC, which is when they had the chocolate day. And I remember grabbing all the great chocolates and putting them on a plate and putting them in my refrigerator. And yeah, there was nothing but my stuff in the refrigerator. So I don't know if this is new that they've added things into the mini bar to entice you to be buying from the mini bar. Prices in the mini bar are around like $4.50 for a small bottle of mango juice to like, I forgot how much the other things are. There's Kansas sodas, there's some beer for like $7.50 a bottle. There's little 2-ounce vodkas and other kind of alcohols for $10 for the bottle. I'll put the prices off to the side here. But it was locked when I got in, and I had to ask for access to it with the stewardess. And I've also had some issues with the safe. I'm going to ask my stew tomorrow to unlock it, and hopefully I can use the safe. Other than that, I mean, the room is pretty standard. It's good size. It's bigger than the room that's on Virgin, the solo room on Virgin, which was teeny tiny. This one has got some room to move around, and I don't feel, it's actually bigger than one of the rooms I had on the Divina. I had an interior room in the Divina, and I've been on the Divina more than once. So one of these times, the room was absolutely just pathetically small, and there was barely room to maneuver around the bed. So at least in this room, there's enough room. It feels comfortable. It is a nice room. I want to talk about the muster situation. It's always a mess. It just seems like even though we've been doing this like post-COVID weird muster system where like no one touches each other and you have to keep space, and it just always seems sloppy. Like there's just always something wrong. In this case, so MSC does something a little bit different than other ones. Because MSC in Europe, they have like a rolling embarkation, disembarkation system. You can get on, you get off, you hop around. So like every day there's like new people coming on and people getting off and leaving. Well, in the US, they don't quite have that system, but they do kind of keep some of their procedures where when you get on, you embark. That day you have to do their muster system where you have to watch a video, you call in on your telephone in the room, and then you have to walk to your muster section, and then they scan your card. And I mean, it's pretty standard for a lot of the different cruise lines. That's not really all that different. But what MSC does is if you don't do it today, I don't know why, but if you don't do it today, you have to do it tomorrow in the morning. But in this case today, there's one person or a couple people that just didn't do it. And they wouldn't turn the elevators back on because they kept on asking this one person, please, please, please come over and scan your card, come to your muster station. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If they can just do it tomorrow, then why are you going through all this fuss of, like, I swear it was like 30, 45 minutes of constantly asking for this person to come to the muster station. Well, just, if they can do it tomorrow, then just go have them do it tomorrow, or tonight, go find them. I know my mother, on one of the trips we took, on MSC, I don't think she scanned her card. I think something happened and she didn't scan her card. And they were like, don't worry about it. We'll just scan it later. Or you can just come by to the front desk and we'll deal with it tomorrow. Or like, we'll just come to your room tomorrow. I forgot exactly what the resolution was, but it really wasn't a big deal. And, life moved on. They opened up the elevators. They opened the bars up. And the thing is with, for some reason, the crew wouldn't let me sit in any of the chairs in different areas until the muster was over. So I just kind of walked around in circles and I don't know. It was just, again, like, I don't understand why all these cruise lines are doing this every single week, multiple times a week. You'd think that it would be kind of, easier, but it seems like every single cruise line has all these little issues. So yeah, we didn't leave until around 7 o'clock, and we're supposed to leave at 6. I sound like I'm complaining. I'm not really complaining. I don't really care. It was getting dark, and so it's really no difference between leaving at 6 and leaving at 7 because it's dark. It was kind of sad that you couldn't watch the ship leaving because it was dark. And usually you can sit on your balcony or sit on one of the decks and watch and look at all the fancy houses on Star Island and watch as you go by. But in this case, you couldn't. It was just dark. So people just went to dinner, or they just, did their own thing instead of that really fun exiting the port where everyone stands outside and waves and they're honking or blaring of the horns. It just, maybe that's kind of what I'm getting at, where it's just like, this cruise doesn't have any energy. This cruise doesn't have that exciting traditional cruise feel. Like, there isn't like a cocktail on the top floor when you leave and everyone's cheering and waving to the other people who are on cruise ships too and waving to them goodbye. And I don't know, it's just this cruise just feels kind of eh. I have all these notes. This ship is a lot smaller than the Divina. Now I'm comparing this to the Divina a lot because it's very, very similar to the Divina. The interior design, the art on the walls, a lot of things are like the Divina, but just not as nice. So like the Divina has that beautiful Swarovski gemstone staircase, and it's just lovely to walk up and down. The light shines down and it glimmers everywhere in the room, and it makes you feel special when you walk up and down there, especially on the formal night when everyone's wearing their nice clothes and you pose for pictures. This one is just it's just a staircase. It's not like it's some fancy staircase. That's what I mean. It's like the Divina, but just not as nice. Now it is smaller than the Divina, so there isn't as much in terms of like extra restaurants, and there's no extra pizza restaurant. It's like a condensed version. Now I do have to say that the theater room here is just absolutely gorgeous. There's sparkling lights everywhere, and the configuration, it's beautiful. It is quite magnificent. And I can't wait to see a show in there and be able to sit in there and just enjoy the ambiance, not just, taking photos of it. Can we talk about the food? The food, it's just, okay, maybe... The food on this trip is just like meh. Now I am on only day 1, but it doesn't seem as prominent. The food in the buffet, not all the sections were filled. They only used half of the buffet tonight. They didn't use the other side. They only used one side of the buffet, not both sides of the buffet. I don't know, the food just seemed all right. I did like how they have Indian dishes on the buffet, which was nice. There was one Indian dish, and it's the same Indian dish that was being served in the restaurant tonight. And I have to say it was better on the buffet. I did taste it on the buffet. It was better on the buffet than it was at dinner a little bit later. The rice, they used a better rice at the buffet than they offered at dinner. The roti that they had, I think it was like a whole wheat roti that they had in the dinner, in the dining room. It was just kind of... So tonight's Indian dinner was a lentil, Punjabi tadka, which is a lentil dish, lentil and it's lentils and mixed beans.